Hello and welcome everyone. This is Type V3 with a review of the NXEDGE style Genesic GaoGaiGar, the fourth release in Bandai's relatively new super deformed robot action figure toy line. Quadruple G certainly hits all the SD marks, as this bite-sized offering of the King of Braves is viciously cute. The proportions, for as squashed as they are, remain true to Super Robot standards, what with the figure's tiny torso and chunky legs. Sculpting is far more detailed than it needed to be at this scale, and the paintwork is pretty clean too, with no areas lacking in color. Though the lion chest could have used another layer of gold paint, as it comes off quite plasticky in appearance. GaoGaiGar's head sculpt is the real highlight of the toy. The demonic design is adorable with these exaggerated features. The piercing orange eyes and metallic green gem are nice touches too. The large translucent hairpiece reveals a wonderful mix of color when any amount of light hits it, and the glossy black finish on the huge wings only make them more imposing. Overall, it's a good-looking toy without too much to fault. Now, this is a small toy and thus barely manages to break the 4.5-inch mark at its highest point. Still, the beefy design ensures a much larger feeling figure in hand. For articulation, the head is on a simple ball joint, and it's actually pretty movable. There's nothing too much that's restrictive except for this hairpiece. The torso itself only has a waist swivel. You can't really do anything else with the mid-torso or the lion's mouth. The arms are connected on ball joints. These are kind of like to pop out pretty easily, especially when you utilize the swing forward shoulders. They kind of just come out, but you can see right there is the swing forward mechanism. The shoulder pads are on their own separate hinge. You do have a bicep cut, single joint at the elbow, which is pretty deep, swivel wrists. For the hip skirts, there's no articulation here. These are actually just very soft, rubbery pieces of plastic that have very thin connections to the waist, so be careful with these. The hips themselves are on simple ball joints. They're pretty posable, not really too much in your way. Single joint at the knee, gets a good knee going on there. Nothing really going on with the drills or the toes. The ankles themselves are connected on ball joints, but because they've been cut in such a way to have this deep ankle tilt, you can't really move them side to side. Instead, you have slight pivoting back and forth. The wings themselves are connected by ball joints, just like that, and so you can flap them up and down a little bit in and out. And as for the tail, it is just one static piece. Though there's a lot of moving parts on this figure, it's mostly wasted. Between the size and SD aesthetic, there's not really a huge range of posing possibilities. The first of GGGG's accessories is this small booster that you can attach to the peg on the right hand. With the aid of a stand, you can display the figure performing the classic broken magnum attack, though it could have used an effect part. Next up is a giant combined fist, which replaces both the hands on the toy. However, doing so requires the removal of the lion's mane first. It's a bit tricky to get everything lined up, but the end result is a fairly authentic display of the Genesic Hell in Heaven attack. Finally, as with all NXEDGE style releases, a basic display stand's been included. There's articulation points at both the base and head of the stage arm. It holds the figure nicely. If you have another NXEDGE style release, you can stack the bases via the included support stands. Or if vertical displays aren't your thing, you can snap the bases together in a somewhat hex-like pattern. It's a cool gimmick. No matter which way you look at it, the NXEDGE style Genesic GaoGaiGar is a fun, budget toy and shouldn't be seen as anything more than that. Admittedly, presentation is impressive for the size, and there's more features here than expected, although I would have taken less articulation if it meant the inclusion of simple effect parts. The display stand is nice, and its vertical compatibility with others should please those with limited shelf space. All in all, it's a solid, bite-sized package. Obviously, it's not going to be the definitive King of Braves in a display. Still, I'd recommend it for casual Super Robot fans, or as a space filler for the completist GaoGaiGar collectors. But that's all for me. Thanks for watching, and what do you guys think of Bandai's NXEDGE style toy line? Personally, it's not something I'm going to follow all that closely. If anything, I'll just grab a few of my favorite robots here and there.